So just a recap of what we have practiced over the last few weeks, or last 4 weeks, I should say, is we practice cleanliness or purification. That is the first niyama. Then there was contentment. Then there was self-discipline. And then last week we practiced self-study. And we end the niyamas with surrender, Ishvara Pranidhana, as it is called. And Ishvara means your chosen deity. So the idea is that you do your work, you do your duty without attachment to reward. And in a very classical way, you kind of just do it for God. You just kind of give it up for the universe, like you do it for the greater good. And I like that it's Ishvara, which is, it can be whatever higher power you feel you want to attach meaning to. Even if you're atheist, you could say that there is something greater in the world, universe, than yourself singular. Um, it could even just be like the greater good for humanity, which actually can be seen. Like there are plenty of studies that show that like when we meditate or we practice yoga regularly, that we see the butterfly effect in our communities. If we are a parent, we probably have better tolerance toward our children. If we are a student, we have more resilience to the stresses that come with that. I teach yoga and meditation almost primarily for people who work in corporations. And I have seen drastic change in them when they show up and they do their practice week after week after week. And at first we all do it for ourselves because we want to be less stressed or we want to be more flexible or we want inner peace. But after a while, we start to let go of that attachment and we can just allow our practice to be our practice, to show up and do it because we know that it is our job to do. And when we can let go of the ego attachment to any kind of reward that comes with it, that's where we can prepare ourselves to go into deeper and more expansive states of consciousness. In several weeks, we'll get to the 3 stages of meditation, which are the last 3 limbs of yoga. And surrender is one of the key components to moving forward in a meditative practice. So just a little bit of a preview for a few weeks from now or several weeks from now is that the first stage is just concentration. And then the last 2 stages are meditation, as we can classically call it in yoga. And then there is absorption, which is the last one. And to get from one step to the next one in those limbs, you have to let go of any attachment that you have to anything. You have to basically surrender your mind, your ego to something higher than yourselves. So this is a little preview for the things that have to come next. And again, we do all of this to suffer less. We do all of this to create less suffering in the world around us. So even in surrendering, we have the goal to be happy. We have the goal to be happy. And so that's what we'll practice tonight through a couple of different ways. One is to connect to source, as we'll call it, and you can call it whatever you want to, but that's the vernacular that I will use today. It just means something greater than yourself. And the other is to notice when you start getting attached or when you start having an agenda show up around your practice. And it's okay if that happens. We're not shaming ourselves for wanting things, but to allow ourselves to notice where that grasping desire might be, or that desire in general, and then just softening that pull or that push or that graspingness around it. So, with that said, we're going to start to practice. It's always a nice diatribe at the beginning. I have to hydrate because I know what we're doing next. So normally we chant Om 3 times. We're going to chant it 9 times total. And you can chant with me or you could just listen. It's really up to you how you want to practice this. Om is the sound of everything. And so when we chant Om, we do connect to everything, which includes that which is greater than ourselves. So allow yourself to get kind of lost with chanting, whether you're listening or practicing it. And I'll let you know when we're finished. So 9 can kind of we start to lose count after a while. Sound good? All right. So go ahead and sit comfortably. Close your eyes. And before we chant, we have to get inward a little bit. So take a few deep breaths in and out, letting your body relax, feeling your energy ground into the points of contact your body makes with the floor. And feeling your breath relax. You just might notice what your mind is doing. Maybe as I spoke, there was some skepticism or resistance to this practice, the idea around this practice. That's completely fine. All parts are welcome. Maybe there's some distractions that are present, maybe some urgency for things that need to get done. Those are welcome too. But you can think about all of these pushes and pulls of the mind as effort, just kind of like as you're walking around, or if you're lifting weights, or if you're even practicing yoga, or you're efforting. Can you surrender that effort? You don't have to figure out your to-do list right now. You don't really need to protect yourself through skepticism or even being leery or even having resistance. Like there's no need for that right now. Just remind yourself that this is a safe space. Surrender that effort and just allow yourself to be open as much as you can be here at the beginning of this. And with that openness, or more open than we might have been before, let us chant Om 9 times and just let yourself get lost in it. Again, I'll remind you when we're done, and you can chant at the same time as me. You can chant when you run out of breath. It's really up to you. So, taking a deep breath in, let's begin. One more time. Oh. Sitting with the resonance of Om, connecting to everything, connecting to that which is greater than yourself, your chosen deity, your source, that which feeds you, that which uplifts you, energizes you, heals you, relieves you. That's what we surrender to because it's the work that we are here to do. And the connection to source, the surrender to source, is its own reward. To trust that we are supported. Allowing yourself to take a deeper, fuller breath. Please bring your palms together, bowing to that source. Of course, yourself, your body, your energy, your breath and mind, but especially tonight, honoring that which is greater than you. That's what we practice for. I'm gonna go ahead and rub the palms together. And take the heated palms over your eyes. Brushing back over the top of the head, down the neck, bringing yourself gently, carefully back to the space around you. It's going to be a bit of an esoteric class. It's okay. So let's come onto hands and knees to start. Table pose. Bringing the hands under your shoulders, knees beneath the hips or slightly further back. Inhale, look forward, feel the tail lift. Exhale, balasana, child's pose. And then inhale, float back up. And let's just keep going between these two poses, please. Inhale, rising. Exhale, releasing. Warming up the shoulders, the spine, the hips, the legs, linking your breath and movement. Good. And let's add downward facing dog to this flow. Inhale the hands and knees, curl the toes under, lift the hips, down dog. Then float gently back down onto hands and knees and child's pose. And let's continue to move between these three postures. Hands and knees on inhale, down dog or child's pose on exhale. Just allow yourself to keep moving. Moving with the breath. So you're inhaling as long as you're moving to hands and knees. You're exhaling as long as you're floating back to child's pose or down dog. Now, part of connecting to source, that which is greater than yourself, and also building that relationship with it so that you can more easily surrender to that will, whatever that might be, is just to practice the connection of it, to allow yourself to be led more intuitively. And so from this flow that we're in right now, forest to child, forest to down dog, we're going to move into a practice called Sahaja Yoga, which is self-arising yoga. So, feel into your body, how your body is feeling right now, what might need to be warmed up a bit more than what I'm actually saying. And then just allow yourself to start to explore other postures. And I'm going to encourage you to keep moving, especially as we're warming up. So if you're not sure what to do, just keep moving between the three postures as we've been doing. But maybe you want to move into Danda Kriya. And for a reminder for that one, Danda Kriya is plank to chaturanga to up dog to downward dog. So that's an option for you. Now we are just getting warmed up, so don't do anything too crazy. But you could start working with some lunges. Maybe you step a foot forward and you practice a crescent lunge. Just feeling what that feels like in your body right now. We're going to spend a good 5 minutes in this part of the practice. So I want you to really just explore what it is you need without being too hypercritical. Sometimes we can start to question, like, am I doing it right? Yes, you're doing fine. You're doing fine. And the continued movement allows you the space to not have to question yourself on what you should do. And again, if you end up in that space, you just come back to forest to child's, forest down dog. As the body gets a bit more warmed up, you could practice more dynamic poses. Maybe it's a raised lunge with a twist. Again, we're just getting warmed up, so don't do anything that feels too inaccessible at the moment. And kind of going back to what we said earlier, That when that critical mind kind of kicks in, starts to really question what you're doing, if it's right, if it's the thing to be doing, remind yourself that that's effort and then surrender that effort. That's not what this is about right now. Critical thinking, positive or negative, is not necessary in this moment. The point is to just flow with whatever feels like it's coming through you. After a while, it might turn into warrior poses. Just let yourself even play. That's another way to think about it. Surrender doesn't have to be something so dramatic. It's just letting yourself play, letting yourself do what feels good in this moment with no attachment to what has to happen with it. Doesn't have to be productive necessarily. Just try things out. I know somebody out there wants to do a side plank. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you don't. But another minute or so. Keep moving, keep flowing, keep warming up. If we have to have an intention here, that's what it is. We do want to warm up the body a little bit, but how we do that can be quite open. Almost there, y'all. Part of the reason why we practice this for so long in spurts is so that you do get to a point where you're not sure what to do. That's where you can really learn to allow yourself to be led. All right. Over the next, we'll give it a half minute or so because you might be doing something asymmetrical. Over the half minute or so, I want you to make your way to standing forward fold Uttanasana. But feel free to finish whatever exercise you might be doing right now. If you're doing something asymmetrical, make sure you do both sides. And eventually, you'll come to the standing forward fold. And when you do so, just feel, just be present, allowing your upper body to drape over the legs. Relax the head, neck, and shoulders, arms. You can just keep hanging forward like this. Some other options, you can grab opposite elbows, ragdoll pose. You could also interlace your fingers at your lower back and lift your arms off your back. Do what feels right. And now if they're not already there, go ahead and hang your arms to the floor. Then inhale, press palms to shins, come into Ardha Uttanasana, halfway up, chest parallel to the floor. Then exhale, fold back down. And inhale, sweep the arms out to the side with a strong back. Lift yourself all the way up, reach. And then palms to the heart. Good. Taking an adjusting breath here, noticing sensation in the body, how you feel energetically, how you feel in your mind, how your mind feels in your mind. All right. Good morning. So some people usually either love Sahasrara yoga, the self-arising stuff, or they hate it completely. Just notice what your relationship to that practice is. Spoiler alert, we're going to practice it again later. It's a great opportunity to see what's going on in the mind and like what our motivations are. And if you're one of the people a person who might be skittish around having your own yoga practice at home when you're not taking class, it actually builds some confidence for you to be able to do that on your own when you need to. But for now, let's continue to get warmed up. We're gonna do our arm swing series here. And I'll give you a couple of options because part of this is kind of just going with what feels appropriate to your intuition. Trying to find my words tonight. So the first version is the more simpler version, and that'll be inhale, arms up, inhale back, inhale up, then exhale, jab the elbows back. Feel free to practice that one, it's beautiful. You can also practice the body drop version, which is arms up, back, up, and then bend the knees, drop the body, swing back to inhale, come up for the next round. For both variations, it's a 3-part inhale through the nose and 1 powerful exhale out of your mouth with the movement. And we're gonna go for about 2 minutes, so pace yourself so that you can make it to the end, all right? So whichever version you're doing, have the feet stacking underneath your hips, nice stable stance so that you don't fall over. Good, finding your breath. Again, we're inhaling through the nose, exhaling out of the mouth. Let's go ahead and begin. Inhale up, inhale back, inhale up, exhale. Inhale, 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 exhale. Swing it out, keep going. With your inhale, you want to feel the full rotation of your shoulder joints up, up, and back. And with your exhale, it's a powerful pull from the navel and up, clearing your respiratory system, which is great to do this time of year as pollen starts to build up in some of the regions of this world. Again, find a pace you can maintain for the full length of time. And as you're practicing, as you keep going, think about what it is that feels like it's greater than yourself. You might actually have a spiritual practice and you know exactly what that is. Think about that thing. If you don't, think about the expansiveness of the universe or the fact that you are connected to this earth and this earth provides for you so constantly. Like there is something greater than you. Just think about that support as you're practicing and allow this movement that you're doing to be in support of that. You're about halfway done. Keep going. It doesn't even have to have a name. It can just be an idea. About 30 more seconds. Keep going. 3, 2, and 1. Back to standing, release. Breathe through your nose. Try to steady your breath. Feel sensation in your shoulders, your arms, your hands, cooling in the nostrils, clearing in the lungs. But more specifically, bring your awareness to the space between your eyebrows. Yes, everything else is going on, that's fine, but be aware of the space between your eyebrows. And allow your chin just to tuck down slightly. It's called Jalandhara Bandha. Just pulling the chin toward the throat. It's not dropping the head. It's just kind of a gliding back of the head, if you will. And then take a deep breath in. Hold the breath in. Focus on that point between the eyebrows. Maintain that Jalandhara Bandha, that chin lock. Hold the breath in. Exhale slowly through the nose. Take one adjusting breath. Come back into the chin lock. Focus between the eyebrows. Take a deep breath in and hold again if you can. Exhale slowly through the nostrils. Take one adjusting breath. We'll come back into that just one more time. Chin lock. Focus between the eyebrows. Deep breath in and hold. And as you hold the breath in, we're going to take it just a little bit further than what might feel comfortable. And notice any thoughts that pull you away from that focus at the third eye, space between your eyebrows. And just surrender those thoughts. Just let them go, like letting go of a rope. And exhaling softly through the nose. Feeling sensation. And then take a deeper breath and allow your awareness to come on back. Great job. However far you were able to go with that pranayama. I know it can be a bit hard to hold the breath for so long, but it's good to see where our limits are. And when we work with imagery around the third eye, that's in the chakra system, like that's the connection to what might be higher to ourselves, where we tune into intuition. So that's a great way to help quiet the mind sometimes. But let's go ahead and continue on. I'm going to have you lift your arms overhead now. Relax your shoulders. Have your feet stacking underneath your hips if they're not already. Take a deep breath in. Then exhale, bring your right knee into your chest, and then place it back down. And then exhale, left knee to chest. Inhale, place it down. Right knee, down. Left knee, down. Right, left. And just keep going from side to side. And we're going to make it a bit more interesting. You're going to do opposite arms, opposite legs. So as you bring your right knee up, bring your left elbow down, and then extend, and then switch from side to side. Marching crunches, opposite arm, opposite leg. And as you do, bring the knee up and the elbow down. You want to feel a slight tug behind the navel, an engagement of the core. And this can be a forced exhale. And to make it a bit more interesting, as you bring the elbow down, take it across the knee. So there's a twist happening in the spine. 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and release. Whew, deep breath in and out. All right, so to finish off this series that we're in right now, we're gonna do our swinging from side to side. So you can take your feet about shoulder width apart, maybe a little bit wider, toes pointing outward. Now, if you have plenty of space in your space, you're just gonna swing from side to side and allow the arms to hit your body. If there's furniture and walls nearby, just take your hands onto your shoulders and then do the same thing from side to side, but keep your upper arm parallel to the floor. Okay, so pick one, practice it from side to side. If the arms are swinging around, let them hit the body. And your head is a part, or your neck, I should say, is a part of your spine. So make sure you're looking behind you as you twist. Good, keep going. When we're twisting constantly like this, the breath can become shallow. So if that's happening for you, just take a deeper, fuller breath as we're unwinding this tension in the spine. From side to side. Now, this repetitive rhythmic movement is a great time to surrender because you're not doing any like balancing postures. You're not doing any inversions. You're just swinging from side to side. So see if you can just let go of effort here. Maybe again, you might meditate on that which is greater than you. If you're able to do this with your eyes closed, you can have the eyes closed and focus at the space between your eyebrows. From side to side. You've been taking a deep breath in a while, take a deep breath again. And something wonderful can sometimes happen here too, where you start to realize that you're not really doing the practice, you're not the doer, but you're the one who is witnessing you do the practice. There's almost like this bemused observance happening. That may or may not be your awareness right now. About 15 more seconds. Three, 2, and 1. Unwind to center. Let the eyes close if you can. Re-engage Jalandhara Bandha, the chin lock. Take a deep breath in. Hold the breath in. Focus at the space between your eyebrows. Holding in just a little bit further than what feels comfortable. Just a little bit. And when it's time for you to exhale, softly, slowly through the nose. Don't drop the breath. Just let it be slow. Good. Now, if you haven't exhaled yet, please go ahead and do so. So we're going to move through a simple sun salutation for 1 or 2 rounds. And then I'm going to kind of let go the reins after that. So we're practicing Sahaja Yoga again. And again, the idea of this is to allow yourself to be intuitively led. When we can strengthen the relationship with our intuition, it's easier to surrender the fruits of our actions to something greater than ourselves because we have a direct experience with that source, with that thing, being led by it and trusting again in it. So this will be a simple flow that I'll lead you through. Again, we'll do it twice. And if you find yourself not sure what to do once we get to the self-arising portion of it, you can always return to it. But we're going to spend quite a bit of time here because there's so much exploration that can happen. And I want to give you plenty of space and even challenge to move into that space when it feels appropriate. So whatever direction is the top of your mat, go ahead and step there. Have your feet about hip distance apart. Bring your palms to your heart. Take a moment, find your breath. You might be lightly aware of that space at the third eye, space between your eyebrows. Let us move through this flow. With your next inhale, sweep your arms down, back, and up. Exhale, bend the knees, chair prep, sweep the arms back. Inhale, chair pose. Stay for your exhale. Inhale, straighten the legs. And exhale, swan dive, fold forward. Palms to shins halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Then exhale, release down and step your right foot way back. Take the back knee to the floor. Inhale, crescent lunge. Lift the arms up and back. And then exhale, hands down, step back to downward facing dog. Moving through Danda Kriya. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right leg lifts when you get there. Step the foot through. Back knee releases to the floor. Crescent lunge, inhale. Exhale, palms to the ground and step forward. Palms to shins, halfway up. Exhale, fold. Sweep the arms out to the side. Inhale, flat back, come all the way up. And palms to the heart. Good. I'll lead you through it one more time. Inhale, sweep the arms down, back, and up. Exhale, bend the knees, chair prep. Chair pose. Stay for the exhale. Inhale, straighten the knees. And exhale, swan dive, fold forward. Pressing palms to shins, lift halfway up. Let's step the left foot back this time. Knee to the ground. Inhale, crescent lunge. Good. Exhale, hands down. Step back to downward facing dog. Danda Kriya. Plank. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Lifting the left leg into the air when you get there. Step it through. Back knee to the floor. Crescent lunge. Inhale. Good. Exhale, hands down and step forward. Palms to shins. Exhale down. Sweep the arms out to the side. Come all the way up. Palms to the heart. Good. This is where we start to let go of the reins. I'm going to keep demonstrating the flow for maybe one or two more rounds in case you need something to look at. But, think about what else you could do here. So just go ahead and move. Maybe you want to do a raised lunge instead of a low lunge where the knee is off the ground. It could be as simple as that. Doesn't have to be anything too fancy. Maybe you don't want to do a lunge at all. Maybe it's a warrior pose. Maybe you're really feeling that tonight. And just like during our warm up, keep moving, at least at first. Later on in this section of our practice, I'll give you the permission to stop moving if you need to. But especially as we get started, just keep moving. Notice when that critical voice comes in, if it comes in, and just ask it to, Step back for a bit. I can imagine it's trying to help you in some way, but we don't really need help right now. We're good. Keep flowing, keep moving. Again, if you don't know what to do, go back to our original flow. What needs to move in your body? What is your body asking for? There's so much wisdom there. Maybe it wants a warrior two. Maybe that turns into a reverse warrior. Maybe it turns into a side warrior. Maybe all three, who knows? Let yourself experiment here. Maybe you find the Danda Kriyas really aren't working for you. You don't really need that in your life right now, so you can skip them, or you can do, you can go down to your belly and do cobra pose instead. Maybe there's a triangle pose in there that you want to bring into your practice. Or if you're still working with lunges, maybe there's a twisting lunge that's asking for some attention. Maybe your spine really wants to rotate. Keep moving, keep flowing. Now is about the time where you've probably done close to 5, 6, or maybe even 7 sun salutations. And I want you again to keep going. But here's where you can start to break the mold even further. So maybe there's a posture, something that you have to warm up for that you really want to do. Maybe it's like a half moon pose or warrior three, everybody's favorite balancing posture, or maybe a tree pose. Maybe there's a pose you want to hold for a while. Maybe you want to hold plank for a whole minute. You have the opportunity right now if you want to do that. If you want to spend some time in chair pose, or maybe you want to come down onto your belly and do bow pose. If you don't know what all these poses are, don't worry about it. Do something you know that you know how to practice. Play around, like move into these other postures that you might not usually even have an opportunity to practice because the teacher, me, or whoever isn't instructing them, on a certain day. You're nice and warmed up now. You can do almost anything within your ability, of course. So give yourself that permission to experiment or go and just see if that posture is available for you. The only thing I'd say to not even caution, but just a reminder, if you do something asymmetrical, if you do it on one side, make sure you spend time doing it on the other side as well. It's probably the only rule other than safety that I'll throw out there for you. Play around with it. Play around with it. Maybe you want to do a handstand at the wall. Maybe headstand is a part of your practice. Only if you know how to practice, of course. But give yourself the opportunity just to see what comes up for you, but keep moving. If you find you want to freeze because you don't know what to do, go back to the original flow. Just go back to it every single time. If you know why you're stopping because you want to stay in a pose and it's feeling good, then you can stay. That's the difference there. If you stay because you're frozen because you have this critical voice, it's like, what do I do? That sounds dumb. Then relax that effort, go back to the original flow. We're going to practice for another couple of minutes at least. So just see what is there for you. Push yourself beyond the comfort zone here. I know it's nice to have me leading you all the time and I enjoy doing it, but only you know exactly what it is that you need. And you can tap into that intuition. If you are holding a pose for a while, think about your third eye. Bring your awareness to that focal point and keep going, whether it's focusing or whether it's moving. Stay in the practice, which is one of the precepts of yoga. Staying in the endeavor. It's hard to do, but you're here. You already showed up. Keep moving. Keep practicing. Keep going. It doesn't even have to look like yoga. Maybe it's something you learned in a workout class. That's not yoga. Yoga can be a workout, but it's more than that. We know that. Keep going. I know the longer we practice this part, the more that we're like, what do we do now? What do I do with my hands? Just keep going. Just keep practicing. Exploring what feels good, what feels right, what feels like it's going to serve you in this moment, which might not be what always serves you. Maybe you want some challenge. Maybe you don't want some challenge. Maybe you know you don't need that tonight. That's fine. That's fine. But keep practicing. We'll give it another minute and a half at least. Again, it's okay to hold a posture. Just know why you're doing it. If you do something on one side, make sure to do it on the other side. And over the course of the next half minute or so, finishing up the Sahaja Yoga portion of our class, and find your way slowly as you're ready to Tadasana, standing tall. If you need to do the other side, do the other side. But slowly make your way, start to wrap up this self-arising portion. Mountain pose. Feel yourself as mountain pose, Tadasana, aware of that third eye, that perspective looking out over the landscape from the top of this mountain that is you. And there's the sky above you. There's the connection to that which is even greater, even more expansive than this perception, this perspective that you have. In practicing, you open yourself up to more expansiveness in your mind, which allows you to have greater understanding for the world around you, greater compassion, greater love, even for yourself, for other things in the world, other people, beings, situations. But we do our practice because it is ours to do. So taking a deeper, fuller breath, then bring yourself on back. All right. You might have practiced something you hadn't thought of in a while. It's great to do. It's great to do. So I'm going to invite you into inversion next. And yeah, there are a couple of variations for it. I'll teach them the full version first, and then I'll give you some options. So you can just watch me first if you'd like to. We might have done this one a couple of weeks ago. I really can't keep track of time like that right now, but I think we did it recently. It's Viparita Karani, or half shoulder stand. And you'll start in bridge prep. Of course, if you know this pose already, you can just come into it. But you're going to lift the hips into the air, bring your elbows close to your side, fingertips pointing toward the ceiling, and then come onto the balls of the feet and grab hold of your body around your waistband. And then kick the knees into your chest, turn the hands around so you're cupping the hips, and extend the legs toward the ceiling, your toes in line with your eyes. And this is Viparita Karani. It's not full shoulder stand. We're still holding the weight of the body in the hands. And it's not plow pose. We're not taking the feet all the way overhead. Now, if going upside down like that is just not a part of your practice today, you could do legs up the wall. You can scoot to the wall and just take the legs up and hang out here. You could just hug knees to chest. And even if you don't want to do that, you could do crocodile, coming down onto your belly and taking the head onto the back of the hands. Okay, so find your way into one of these postures. In whichever version you're in, just relax a bit if you can. If you're able to have the eyes closed, focus on that space between the eyebrows. And if your eyes are open, that's okay. You can just be aware of thoughts. Maybe focus the eyes to a single non-moving point above you. And notice the thoughts that try to pull you away from this focus. Relax that effort. There's nothing to figure out here. There's nothing to analyze. Even if there's some discomfort here, can you just stay with it? Sometimes we have to face discomfort. Okay. So if you're in full half shoulder stand, go ahead and bring the knees into the chest and carefully relax onto your back. And just feel sensation before you make too many adjustments. What's happening in your body, what's happening energetically, how you feel energetically. And taking a deeper breath, please. Take your time, but please roll onto your abdomen. Just rolling over onto the belly. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders, elbows bending in towards your sides. And if it's comfortable enough for now, have your forehead on the ground. Now I'll give you a heads up here. We're going to practice locust pose for 60 seconds. Notice the resistance that comes up as I say that, or the concern. And just remind yourself that you're doing this for something greater than yourself. You're surrendering the fruits of this labor, if you will, to something higher. Let this be in service of that. It's not about your body. It's not about your practice necessarily. It's just about doing the duty. It's about showing up for it and doing as much as you can. So with an exhale, press your pelvis into the ground. With your inhale, lift the head, chest, and legs. Just float up. Don't think about it. Just do it. And if you're able to have the eyes closed, focus at the space between your eyebrows. And try to breathe as calmly as you can. Stay lifted. Head, chest, and legs lifting up as high as they can go. 30 more seconds. Ten more seconds. You can do it. Stay lifted. Lift up higher. Take a deep breath in. Slowly, with control, release yourself on down. Keep your focus at the space between your eyebrows. Don't identify with the body. It's okay. Take your time getting there. Downward facing dog. Take your time. Taking deep breaths in down dog. What may be true for you is still this awareness around the third eye. It's like, yes, there's things happening in the body. The mind might feel quieter. Your focus just might feel stronger. It's as if you have that nice open ear to intuition. Child's pose. All right, taking a deeper, fuller breath. Go ahead and bring yourself back up. So you might have thought we were done with Sahaja Yoga, but we're not. We warmed up with it, we apexed with it, and now we're going to cool down with it. What do you need to feel complete in this practice? What does your body need? Do you need a back bend? Do you need to come into bridge pose? We just did a big long back bend, but maybe a bridge pose feels good for you. Maybe you find you really need to lay down and twist. Again, if you do something on one side, make sure you do it on the other. Maybe you just want to stay in child's pose for a bit. Nice forward bend. Maybe you come onto your back and do knees to chest. Maybe you sit up and you do butterfly and fold. Maybe you do butterfly on your back and you bring your feet in toward your body here. Spend the next 2 to 3 minutes answering the question, what do I need to feel complete in this physical part of our practice tonight? And then answer that. Answer that with your practice. Don't worry about it being right or enough. Again, that critical voice, very helpful, but we don't need it right now. You can just relax back. And just like before, it doesn't even have to look like yoga. Maybe you're just moving in a way that feels good and unwinding for maybe some of the residual tension. And you don't have to keep moving. You can hold a pose for a while, but just know why you're holding it, because it feels right to do, but not necessarily because you feel frozen about what else to do. About one more minute. When you feel complete in this part of our practice, you still have time to finish up. But when you do feel complete, you'll lay down on your back and you'll hug your knees into your chest. Slowly making your way to that point if you haven't already. Knees to chest on your back. All right, so when you feel complete with knees to chest, go ahead and extend your legs to the floor. Make your body ready for Shavasana, our final resting posture. Laying down, making any adjustments you need to, both in your body and in your space. Maybe the lights want to go down, set the mood for Shavasana. That's always welcome. And once you're on your back, allow yourself to relax. Taking a deep breath in and out. Bring your awareness once again to the space between your eyebrows. And just imagine at that space that it is some kind of receptacle, like a bowl, or maybe a pair of hands opened up. And that there's this energy or light coming down through the crown of the head and just pooling in that space around the third eye, collecting in that bowl or those open hands or whatever receptacle feels appropriate for you. Could even be like an orb that catches the light. Feel an openness, a receptivity to guidance, to nourishment. And when thoughts come to mind that are not this practice, as soon as you're aware of it, dissolve it. Dissolve the thought. Energy and focus at the third eye. peace, peace, peace. Allow yourself to take a deeper breath, please. Become aware of your body. Make some movements in your hands and feet, your arms and legs. And take your time as you roll to your right side. And leading yourself up to a tall and comfortable seat. And sitting tall, allow your eyes to close. Bring your awareness to that space between your eyebrows, the third eye, Agnya chakra, the place where we can access intuition, connect to source, that which is greater than ourselves. Ishvara. What is Ishvara to you? Do you have an answer? Do you have a feeling of an answer? An openness of an answer? You may have come in to practice with an intention, something you were hoping to get out of this practice, and you may have even gotten it. But can you, even in this moment when the work is done, surrender any fruits of this practice to that which is greater than yourself? You do it because it is your practice to do. And anything you get from it, it's more happenstance or consequence. It reminds me of a saying that we don't practice to achieve enlightenment. Enlightenment happens because we practice. We show up, we let go of harsh expectations or any really at all, and we practice. And because of that, our lives are better. We suffer less. We cause less suffering. Can you let go of your expectations? Can you let go of your attachments? Do you even know what they are? Can you wake up each morning and go to bed each night surrendering? Not in a sacrificial way. You're not giving anything up. You're allowing yourself to receive everything. When you get out of your own way, be limitless. Allow this to be a continued contemplation, not just tonight or this week, something you return to time and again. Time and again. I will definitely be bringing it back up as we continue through the 8 limbs series. But for now, take a deeper, fuller breath. Bring your palms to heart, just honoring Ishvara, that which is greater than yourself. Maybe even feeling gratitude to that source, that energy, that being. And may all of your work here tonight and this practice continue to be in service of that. So until we meet again, namaste.